everyone. Welcome back to our breakout session, Building a Tech Career in an Unpredictable Time, hosted by HackerRank. We are so excited to have you join us today. I will be introducing our speaker shortly, but first just wanted to share a few reminders. Please utilize the chat to have conversations focused on the topic today. Please keep your messages relevant to the session. There are opportunities for you to connect in the booths if you want to share your LinkedIn and have other conversations. Following the session, we'll be sharing our breakout session survey. We appreciate you all filling that out and providing your feedback on the session. I'd like to introduce our speaker today, Travell Williams from HackerRank. He's a product manager at HackerRank. He prioritizes connections between the platform and applications across the internet. With experience across product and engineering, he focuses on creating values and solving real problems. He is currently based in Houston, Texas, the birthplace of Beyonce. Just had to put that out there. And and with his partner, he enjoys roller skating, learning about solar technology, and working out. Travell is back for the second time. He was at EES last year. We're thrilled to have you join us again, Travell. I am going to turn it over to you. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Beyonce's hometown. Is Travell the Beyonce of HackerRank? Someone says in the chat. Thank you. One day, not today. All right, let's jump in. All right. So I don't want to make this about me, but I do want there to be a bit of context on who I am. I'm an accidental product manager. I grew into a product manager from being a software engineer at PayPal, and I fell in love with product management while building developer tools. I also don't have a computer science background. I studied English Lit and Black Studies in university. I also went on the pre med track thinking I would go into PhD. That never happened, and I'm really happy about that. And finally, shout out to all of my Gryffindors. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm not a Gryffindor by default of Harry and Hermione and Ron being a Gryffindor. I'm a real life Gryffindor. I love the other houses as well. Hufflepuffs represent. I love it. All right. So this is an overview of HackerRank and our mission. We want to change the world to value skills over pedigree. And we don't believe that you're your zip code, your resume, or your degree. What we do is exercise our mission in two ways. One, we have a developer community where all of y'all are welcome for free to skill up in a number of skills, whether it be Python, React, any kind of sort of software engineering technologies. In addition, we also offer a skills based technical interviewing platform for large companies to assess their developer talent in a way where they aren't so heavily dependent on resumes to make a decision on candidates. When you think about us as a company and our reach, we touch 2.3 million candidates a year. We have 2,500 customers that are all kind of big names that you've probably heard of. And we have 24 million developers right now on our platform who are skilling up, connecting, searching for jobs, and just showing the best of themselves. So let's jump in. I tried to form this talk around where most of you all probably are. And I watch the news. I know that there's like a lot going on with tech companies and advancing technology. I know that there's a lot of confusion about what should I study. Job hunting is on a lot of folks' minds. Getting a recruiter to respond back to you is a lot. Figuring out what technology you should be skilling up and learning is a huge kind of aspect that people are trying to figure out. And finally, just keeping up with all of the things happening in tech is crazy on top of everything else. So, what I've decided to form this talk around is the notion that we can't really control the future, but we can influence it with our actions today. And so, what I hope to leave you with and provide you with is a framework of sorts to help you navigate these unpredictable times, uncertainty in your career, and also walk away with some sort of value or success coming back to you. This is also the kind of flow of this presentation. And I want to step away from calling it like, I don't want to call it a presentation. I want it to be more of a workshop. My goal is to be in service of you all. So if there's ever something I present or talk about or an activity that we jump into that sparks interest, call me out on it. I want to bring attention to it and I want to make sure we all walk away with something super valuable. So let's jump in. I don't want to bore you all with data. So I promise I'll breeze through this, but there's some important things I want to talk about. So, first, I think anytime you're in a situation where there's uncertainty or you don't know how to move forward, you should root yourself in data. And what HackerRank does every single year is we produce a developer skills report where we interview developers from all sorts of walks of life. And we use that report to inform and communicate where developers are in their careers, what skills you should focus on, how employers are perceiving those developers. So much comes out of this. And so typically, this developer skills report from our end is something we talk about with our customers. I kind of want to reshape it because our customers are the places you all are applying to. So I want to reshape this to be in service of how you should probably interact. So, one of the key insights that we see is a sign of a stabilizing market. And what this means is uh, many of you have probably experienced being in flux. I remember, I think last summer and the summer before that, there were folks who were going after internships and new roles. And because there was such change in tech, they weren't able to move forward at all at certain companies. I remember there were layoffs happening in some areas of of the market. But what we do see from our report and reaching out is that there's an increase in new test creations on the HackerRank side. And what that means is that every time a role opens up, a new test is created. So we're seeing this behavior among our customer base, and the way that supports and influences you kind of as a candidate who may be in flux or may be concerned about where things are headed in tech. I think this is a strong signal that we're moving towards stabilization. The other thing that I think is important is most developers aren't aware of learning opportunities at their company, online, all of these places. Um, and I think this is kind of, oh, I apologize. Can you hear me now? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Am I still cutting out? Okay, cool, cool. All right. I'll also scoot up if that helps. And again, I don't want to present the whole time. I'm gonna try to speed through this because I want to hear from y'all. But most developers aren't aware of learning opportunities. And I think what needs to happen is twofold. I think those of us who are developers and seasoned professionals in the tech community need to surround new talent and support folks. But I also think that employers, and we do see this, should do work on their end to make opportunities to learn at work more accessible for their developers. And again, it may not feel clear or apparent to you in this particular moment, but from what I'm seeing, there's a lot of energy being put in by our customers to figure this problem out. All right. Third insight, the perceived value of college is being questioned. I think this is important because a lot of folks that I talk to want to give their degrees back. If they took out kind of loans from FAFSA, they want to like exchange that so they like it's this whole crazy thing going on right now with college and whether you should have a degree and if it's valuable and what it means for our society. Um, this is up in the air, but what I have seen more than anything is that whether you're on the college side or non-college side, the focus still heavily remains on whether or not you have the skills. So we still see a future that people are marching towards where skills are key. And then four is employers believe they have an accurate understanding of employee skills. This is such an interesting insight. As I was sort of talking to people at our booth, folks were saying, hey, I'm not sure what skills I should focus on. I'm not sure what I should learn. I don't know why recruiters aren't getting back to me. What skills should I put on my resume to go to the top? And these are all great concerns and great questions to bring up, but there seems to be a disconnect between employers and candidates where e- employers believe they have an accurate understanding of an employee's skills, but oftentimes there's a lot that that employee or that developer still has have in them to express. There are tons of skills that they haven't shown their employers. And so I think as candidates, oftentimes our work is to figure out how to present and share our skills in new and fun, interesting ways so that there isn't this disconnect. And then the last one is 76% of developers are using an AI assistant to do their work. This number is increasing. I'm getting the feeling that a lot of people in the chat probably use AI. I use AI assistants all over the place. And this is important because if you went to our keynote or the keynote that Vivek, our CEO, gave, the future is human and AI for us. So we believe ultimately that how we build software today will change. So instead of having the previous life cycle for building software, you'll have an agent helping you at every single stage of the software development life cycle. And so there's these questions that come up after going through this report, which is, should I become an expert on AI? And my response is no, but you should know how to use these tools responsibly and effectively. Will there be jobs in tech? Are companies hiring? Yes, but over time, what it means to work in tech will transform. And we do see this happening. As a product manager, I'm looking forward to a world where I'll be able to prototype without having to go to my engineering team to build things out. And the engineering team will be able to get context on all sorts of features without ever having to talk to me at all. We'll have agents that can do tons of work for us. And that means that we have to rethink what it means to work in tech. And it helps to prepare for that. Next, this is also something that came up. Should I get an MBA, go to grad school, or take a certification course? And that's between you and your parents. I'm joking though. You should always be learning. Um, I think that continuously seeking opportunities to skill up and grow is going to be a part of everybody's career journey, whether you're a CEO or someone working in support. You're going to consistently have to think about what new skills do I have to get, how my old skills probably are defunct or need to be reformatted as well. All right. The last question that I think a lot of people have, and this is scary to ask, and I think it gets to a level of vulnerability, is there a space for me in tech? And my answer to that is we will all be developers in this new world. The pace and rate of innovation at this point will allow us to enter into an era of abundance, in my opinion. Tons of folks who never would have been able to code before will be able to build things on the internet, and that's exciting. So, okay, I want to step away from the data and I want to step into beginning to be a bit more workshoppy and us working together to begin to set goals, manage time, all of those cool things. So, how many people have heard of SMART goals? Could I just get like a response in the chat? Who's heard of, yeah, this framework? I remember my like high school English teacher like drew this on the board and was like, "Yo, y'all got to get into these SMART goals." And if you're not familiar with SMART goals, this is typically what they look like. You're setting a goal, you want it to be specific, you want it to be measurable, you want it to be achievable, you want it to be relevant to what you're trying to do, and you want to put some kind of deadline on it. That first one, I will complete an online Python course and build 3 projects over the next 3 months to improve my coding skills and advance my career. I mean, this is a common way to format a goal. And it does feel like you're moving somewhere. But I want to think of goals and goal setting as like turning strategy into results. I don't know about y'all, but I'm the kind of person where, how do I say this? A sentence doesn't work for me when it comes to goal setting. Every time I sit and say, I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m., go to the gym and for like 4 days a week and try to do that for 6 months, it always collapses. And I do this thing where I like stack goals. It's really, it doesn't, I don't think a sentence is what most people need to be able to have long term impact. So I've been trying to repurpose this thing and I want to put y'all onto it. And I think it'll help. Which is creating a framework, a system for your goals. So they connect and so you're meaningfully attached to them. What we're looking at is Salesforce's strategy for trying to align everybody in the company. And the way they go about doing it is they have every single employee write what's called a V2MOM document. And this document really, really gives everybody clarity on what we're all working on, what we value, and what we're working towards. And when SMART goals failed for me, and I was not waking up and getting to the gym on time. I was not doing my like Python drills or skilling up or focused on what I should have been. I began to look for frameworks, and this is one I found. And so I'll break it down quickly, and then we're going to do something with this. So first, you set a vision, which is what do you want to achieve? And the way I set visions today is not how I set visions when I was working with SMART goals. What I do today is I think deeply about what I would like to happen next. I want a promotion to happen next. I want to move into another role or make more money or learn this language or skill up in AI. I try to get super crisp about what I want to occur in the world. And then I think about my values. What is important to me? Is it time with my family? Is it being able to lift boxes while moving? Is it being supportive to my colleagues? I really dig deep and ask myself, what is important to me? And then method. How do I get there? I think deeply about 3 to 5 things I need to do to support this new vision that I'm trying to bring into a reality. And then I think about what obstacles may be preventing me from being successful with all of my methods. And then finally, I come up with a way of how I'm going to even measure movement towards these goals altogether. All right. So these are the components of what a V2MOM document is. These are the descriptions. And I want to kind of craft a V2MOM together with 1 or 2 people in the audience. What do y'all think about that? Yes, no? Cool, cool. I'm seeing some reactions. Yep, yep. And don't worry, I prepared ahead of time. I have something to share with everybody. All right, so I just shared a link to um, a template of a V2 Mom doc. It's a Google template. Feel free to copy it. And it has each of these elements broken down. And the goal is for one or two people to come up and for us to go through this document together. So let's see.
April. Hi, April. Thanks for hopping up. You're like, what am I doing? We're bringing Travell back in just 1 second. But if you don't mind, do you mind sharing where you're calling from and where you go to if you're in school or what you're doing?
I'm calling from Columbus, Ohio. I'm a bachelor's in computer science student at Oregon State University.
Awesome.
Um, and I think I forgot the third thing you mentioned.
Oh no, you're studying CS?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. We are waiting for Travell to hop back on, but I really appreciate you. I've seen you active in the chat. What's been your favorite thing about EES so far?
Hey,
I really,
hey.
oh, hey.
Oh,
I'm
he's back.
sorry. I'm not sure what happened.
Okay, good. I can stop vamping, but we got April's intro.
Okay, cool.
So I'll turn it back over to you guys.
All right, April.
Awesome.
So you have the V2S Mom doc.
Yep. Oh,
Okay, cool.
can you still hear me?
I apologize. I wanted to bring back up the slides. There we go. All right. So April, it's all on you. Um, let's start with vision. What are you trying to achieve?
I don't know where you were trying to go on this, but one thing that I'm currently trying to do is level up my technical experience or skills with learning Java, a new language.
Okay, cool. So is the vision to do those things towards some sort of career move, or
Yeah,
can
so
you tell
I've
me?
been looking, yeah, I've been looking at a lot of job descriptions, and one thing that I've been seeing over and over is Java, which is something that like my coursework hasn't delved into. So I knew that was something I needed to kind of get on my own.
Okay. And I think it'll be helpful too if I instead just have like the V2S Mom doc itself up so you could see it. All right. So big picture goals, we have moving into either a development or engineering role, learning Java, learning Python. Boom, that's our vision. Are there any other elements of how you want to move forward and what you want to achieve?
I guess a more like smart goal would be like developing a program or a tool using Java or like re-implementing one of my old projects in Java.
hmm Okay, cool, cool. Don't think about like how right now. I just want you to think about the vision. I think one of the things with SMART goals that I didn't really like is that it always put me in this mode of trying to figure out the how before I was super crisp and clear on what I wanted to happen. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, and then
Cool,
like
cool.
you can get stuck in like the implementation details or like get stuck in the weeds.
Yeah. So let's avoid that. We'll talk about the method soon, but we have Java, Python, new role. What sort of things do you value in moving towards this?
That's a really general question because I could just say like learning new skills, like that's just kind of the perpetual path, right?
Yeah, but I don't think that's a value. I think that's more of like a desire. That's more of either what I want to happen. A value is something like something that's deeply rooted in how we're motivated to perform or embrace something. So, for example, something I value deeply is my alone time. I really need time to like be chilled, be to myself, focus on my work. I really need solace and time to myself.
It's slightly different, and this might be a little bit like, oh, everyone says this, but one of my deep values, core values is like excellence. And so it's like doing something that makes me proud of what I'm doing, like being proud of what I'm doing, I think is probably the best way to put it.
Got it. Got it. Got it. All right. So we have being proud of what I'm doing. And is that sort of like validation too? Being validated?
Not really, because I'm like someone who self-validates. So it's not necessarily about the external validation. It's like, am I proud of what I'm doing? Not because it's like the best thing ever, but like, did I achieve my goals, which might have been like improving, like just improving would be like a thing of excellence for me.
Got it. So continuous growth.
Yeah.
And then let's move into the how. This is when you began to take those first two sections. We got your vision, Java, Python, moving into a new career with either one of those tech languages being used. We got what you value. I'm getting the sense that in a deep way, you value continuous learning, but also validation from putting the time in to learn those things and achieve them. Um, and then there's also the how you will achieve them that we want to step into. You began to mention some of these hows, but let me know a bit more about what they are and what they may be.
So how I researched different Java resources and learning tools. So
hmm
I started the MOOC Java course on my own, which has been super awesome. And then I also have a huge backlog of Java books, such as I think it's called Effective Java. And one of the other speakers gave
hmm
like 6 books for Java, so that's was instantly added to my reading list.
Cool,
And then
cool.
hopefully projects.
Okay. Can I ask a real question?
Yeah.
And also, I want to apologize to the audience. I want to have a moment of vulnerability. I don't know what happened there with like the electric doing what it did or the internet doing what it did, but I feel like it made the vibe off a little bit. I'm gonna try to recenter, but I probably won't recenter on the presentation because I really want to make sure with the remaining time that I provide something of value to y'all. It's not about me. Um, there's this thing I want to tell you about, April, called Tutorial Hell, and I was in it. And I feel like that's where you're going with collecting these books, with like your goal setting and all of this kind of stuff. And tutorial hell is not a good place because like you're seeing these job descriptions go up and they're saying Java and Python, and you have like 30 books on this stuff, but you don't feel ready to jump into actually applying or going to through the technical interview. I've been there. My suggestion, and it's written there, is that you become super specific with these 3 to 5 actions that you're gonna commit to. So because you're in tutorial hell, don't do 4, don't do 5. I think 3 is the max. My recommendation would be to do 1 or 2 kind of goals or methods to get you towards that vision. One of the things that helped me was centering on kind of a set learning path of materials that I was going to use, even making those things with one teacher and being able to really go through that course in such a way where I was able to end it with something that I could use throughout the interview process or that meant something to me. So that would be my first suggestion when thinking about the how to this. Let go of all the books and collecting all the YouTube links and pick like 1 or 2 that you want to center on. So we have a method. I'm gonna just like make that a method. Let's make that a pretend method. Is it okay if I do that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. So we have this pretend method that is, well, it's a real method, but you know, um, we'll have that one and then we'll make the second one because if you're interested in applying for jobs, I'm pretty sure you're thinking about projects and I'm pretty sure you're thinking about practical kind of things you need to add to your portfolio to get there. I think that possibly another method could be completing a project. Have you completed any projects already, or is it like in the tutorial hell phase where you're just like, I'm still trying to get out of that before I even figure out a project?
It's more like learning the syntax of Java and how it's different and like relearning, like I've done this before in other languages and like what's the wording in Java? That's just the biggest thing right now.
Okay, well, why not make that like a goal? Take one of your projects and write them in the other language.
Yeah,
That could
that's
be a
much more
method.
smarter.
So and okay, honestly, I think it's cooler. When I was going from Ruby to Python, that's exactly what I did. I took one of my projects that I had up and I rewrote it in Python until like every function came fluid to me. And that's something I found a lot of people doing over time to be able to go between the languages because they also, when you think of programming languages, they don't change in terms of syntax or how they operate. It's just a different way to say something. So saying something over time in a different language begins to be a habit. So I mean, those would be my recommendations for like methods.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks.
Cool, cool. Okay. Next one is obstacle. What would prevent you from like because okay, do you know like on the internet when they say you only had one job? So you have 2 jobs. Get out of tutorial hell and focus on one learning path. Write one of your projects in another language. You have 2 jobs. What do you think will be the obstacle to accomplishing those jobs or completing them?
Getting distracted by new resources or new shiny things or sometimes well-meaning advice from other people who are like trying to tell me, oh, it's more optimal or it's like shinier to do it this other way. Those are probably the most biggest obstacles.
Okay, cool, cool. That's the first one. Someone said stop watching every single video in the tutorial. That's the only way you escape. I agree. The only way. So don't get distracted. That's well, you've identified that as an obstacle, but someone in the chat said, like, hey, this is how you do it. And then what are some other obstacles, or is that the only way that you see this?
One obstacle that I've run into in previous projects is not reaching out for help from my mentors or my classmates before I've reached the point of like being so frustrated that I just feel completely demoralized and just want to give up on the project. Being
Mm,
vulnerable, being
mm.
honest.
Yes, yes, yes. No, that happens to me. It's the I don't want to ask for help syndrome type of thing.
It's like,
I've
oh,
been there.
maybe like the next link will have the answer for me. Oh, maybe like the next Stack Overflow will have the answer. Or like, oh, maybe the next tutorial or like this next resources will be like the magic key. When like sometimes the people around you for 5 minutes can like save you hours or days.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely appreciate you like opening up. I think do you, have you heard of pair programming?
I have the slight issue is that most of my mentors or friends are neurodivergent. And so it can be very difficult to follow each other's thought processes because the way that they work is very optimized for them. And it's not
Mhm.
very easy to learn as a newbie when they've like
Yeah.
built their own masterpiece of working methods.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's hold on to that. So the obstacle is you want to reach out for help, but then there's also like this I can't reach out for help because there's this disconnect. I don't want people telling me how to do things the way they would do it in ways that don't work for me.
Yeah,
Really, really, really real. Okay, so then maybe mm, have you attempted to kind of like explore other networks or other avenues? Okay, I just had this brain thought. What about kind of like a live either programming group or like a live course, for example, that you will be able to be a part of. And that way you will be able to be in a cohort of people that are also at the same kind of level and moving in the same direction as you are, but having the safety of, a class, for example.
yeah, a lot of these online classes do have Discords, so it's like a live community that you can just pop in. But also one way I've kind of hijacked my friends is I don't tell them necessarily the problem. I'm like, hey, do you guys have any resources on blank? So I kind of short circuit them a little bit.
The same, 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 same. Okay, I do that. All right. I think what we just did, kind of going through these different obstacles and like challenging our own capacity to overcome the obstacles is what should happen in this section. Like really thinking deeply about what resources I have at my disposal, what are my friends like, and in this section I typically add a bullet point under each obstacle saying like, hey, this is how I'm going to overcome it, or this is how I'm going to fight back. That would be my recommendation. And then the measure, how would you know if you were successful on like moving forward with this vision?
Probably getting that first Java program, whatever, to compile and run and work. That'd probably be like the number one measurable goal.
Yes, I like that. And then the ultimate goal, though, the one that comes after that, you got the program going. Then it's what is the path to job at that point?
Well, it kind of sucks, right? Because a lot of that is out of your control, right? A lot of that is up to luck or opportunities or other people taking the chance on you. So it's like kind of hard to have like getting a Java job as a goal because that's like so out of your control.
Hmm. I think it's out of your control. I also think that there are steps you can take to be able to mitigate some of this. So, and there's a whole slide that I did on this, but I'll break this down really quickly. One of the things I found out is that I didn't need to have a bunch of connections and relationships to be able to get the things I need or to be able to ask for help. Um, I sat one evening and I mapped out all of my friendships, both professional and personal. I thought about what similar skills do they have? What areas are they working on that I'm not? What other networks that they are a part of that I'm not? And I found out that the among just 5 friends, 5 relationships, I was able to get access to other people, other jobs, other opportunities, all sorts of things. I think here's what I think is going to happen. I think social media is making it difficult for people to actually connect. And what's going to end up happening is we're all going to lean on our networks that we're comfortable with. And that's going to force us into a position where we're going to have to rely on those networks and their networks that they bring to be able to find opportunities and to navigate. My suggestion for navigating this, and I also want to speak to everybody else about this because I know how recruiters can be when it comes to like not being responsive, or you're looking at so many jobs that you apply to and not hearing responses back, or you're doing tons of technical interviews and not getting the score. Really lean on your network in an intimate way, though, not in a way where you need to reach out to 20 people. But I'm pretty sure if you have friends that know Java or Python, they have connections to other places, and they may not be good for you to pair program with or like ask for help from. They may be the best people to sort of connect you with this hiring manager or this engineering manager over here. That's kind of how I perceive and think about it.
Yeah. Asking for help for non-technical stuff too. Asking for
Yeah.
help for the career stuff too.
Yeah. Oh man, we have to figure this out. But yeah, well, that was the that's goal setting with this kind of framework. And how does that feel versus going through kind of a SMART goal type of situation?
It's way less overwhelming. It's way less like knowing what you have to do while before you set the goal in the first place. And it seems a little bit
Hmm.
more flexible or dynamic where you can pivot more a little bit more easily.
Yep. I think we found it. I think we found it. Thank you, April. What I'll do from here, because I know we have like 15 minutes and a lot of time is like passed. If people have questions that they want to just throw at me, come on stage and I don't mind chatting through this stuff. Because again, thank you. Again, this is all about y'all. Oh, there's a question in the chat. As a 2024 new grad who didn't have an internship during college, I'm trying to reposition myself to find a path forward. Do you have any advice for building a career from this perspective? Uh, Good practices, motivation, all sorts of stuff. Okay, so this is a really, really great question. Um, I think I think what has kind of happened is like internships have become seen as the staple of how you get into tech or how you get a position at this different company. And I kind of want to just abandon that as being kind of the sole driver for folks in the sole way to think about it. So for me, I didn't start in tech when I graduated from college. I had a English degree, and what I did was I ended up working in banking for a year, got a little experience, and I moved on to actually joining a company, a tech company, in the support kind of role or support function. So you could imagine this English major, uh, no tech experience, in a queue kind of responding to people about questions they had about this digital product. And it was there where I was able to figure out, hey, this queue is filled with all sorts of problems that the company is trying to solve. And if I can get really good at solving these problems, who knows where that will take me. And so once I began kind of digging in and like really understanding where these problems were originating and how to move on, that's how other opportunities opened up to me. I think what you kind of have to do if you didn't have an internship, but you have a college degree and you have the passion and desire to move into tech, is you have to reframe kind of your expectations of what your first role will look like. The first role doesn't have to be a software engineer. I'm a product manager now. It wasn't my first role. It was something I took time and built up to. So I think, yeah, I think if you look for other opportunities besides software engineer or even just kind of get another internship, that's something that could definitely help out. Okay. Oh, there's more. Let's see. Um, Next question. Oh, so there's a question that came up, which is one thing you mentioned was to have a deep understanding of why you're building what you're building. All right, so this came from somebody who attended the booth and they had a question on, hey, should I go from software engineering to product management? How do I do that? And one of the things I told them was they need to have a deep understanding of why they're building what they're building. I think what ends up happening to a lot of people who want to move into product management is they obsess over kind of the role and the shiny stuff and think about getting an MBA or being able to work with different kinds of teams. And what you really need is to just understand the why. Start with the why of why is my company making this particular decision? Why are we working with this particular technology? Why are we building this sort of thing? The better you get at understanding the why over time and responding to it, and when I say respond to it, let that why inform decisions you make in your code. There are ways to delight your customers, there are ways to delight your users that product managers often miss. And you could take that up as a software engineer, as a data analyst, as anybody on a team. And so, yeah, understanding why you're building what you're building, I think is the best way to begin a move into a product management role. And last question, what's one trend or technology that I believe is currently overhyped and one that's underappreciated? Um, okay, I'm not going to say AI. I really think that application programming interfaces, APIs, are underhyped kind of technology. What an API is, for folks who may not know, is it is a kind of interface that systems have on the internet or just in general that allows you to control them or share data or get data from them. APIs are the bedrock of how all of this is wired together. And I mean, I'm kind of upset about the state of APIs as a technology because if you took AP computer science, they barely talk about it. In all 4 years of computer science degree programs, APIs barely come up as a technology that people are building and actively thinking about, and they are so important to the modern world. I do think on some level AI is a bit overhyped, but not for the I think it's overhyped around all of these use cases that don't really make life better for people. I would like to see it like I would like to see AI hyped or overhyped when it comes to not I shouldn't even say hype. I would like to see AI kind of be talked about with genomics and the genetic work that's happening with how like models are able to process our DNA and help us. Like I think we're thinking about AI in a way where folks really want automation, but they don't know how to say that. And that's the frustrating part of a lot of it for me. Yeah. All right. So I think
Okay, so I have one last question for you, and for everybody who saw me on my walking pad, I'm not walking now, so I'm stable. I was treading. So I would love to know, like, it's so evident how much you take a really thoughtful consideration to, like, it's a crazy time out there for our students trying to get jobs in tech. If you could give like one piece of advice for somebody embarking on this journey of like getting a competitive role in tech, what would you like? What's most important for them to either remember or like an approach or some kind of method that you think would be really helpful for people embarking on that part of their journey?
it's gonna be cheesy. Um, but I'm gonna say this, don't give up at all. What people I think when things get hard, people begin to give up and like leave altogether. I had a lot of challenges. People told me I couldn't be a product manager. I was told that I needed an MBA. I was told that I needed to go through all of these weird courses to do that and get these certifications. I didn't listen to any of that stuff. I believed in myself, and I wasn't going to let anybody tell me otherwise. I went through the same thing when I was trying to be a software engineer. People told me I didn't have a traditional background. I needed to go and get a computer science degree. And ultimately, the faith that I had in myself was just that I knew I wasn't going to quit. And I knew if I didn't quit, that the opportunity that was meant for me was gonna be aligned and I was gonna get that role. So I know things are hard right now and my heart goes out and I want to help whoever I can connect with me if I can be a resource of any time.
Oh no, he froze right at the end. He was given gems. We'll see if he pops back up. Oh, I know Travell had a few tech issues, but we so appreciate his time today, right at the end. We'll make sure to share his information with you all, but please drop your appreciation in the chat for Travell. We will make sure to share it with him. He's a fantastic presenter. You can tell just the deep care he has for all of you for the topic. So thank you so much for coming today. Please drop your appreciation again in the chat. We encourage you to go visit the booths, connect with each other in the lounges, fill out the feedback survey that is dropped. And to close us out, we will go to a brief video from our host, Bobby Dorlis. Thanks all. See you in a session soon.
Thank you for joining us in this session. I got some information before you leave. It says, please take a moment to complete a brief survey to share your feedback. Remember how valuable feedback is. I'm trying to come back 3 years in a row, and it's all based on feedback, right? To see what comes up next, I want you to head back to the main stage and check out the schedule. See you soon in the next set of sessions.